Ready when you are. Conditions apply.
99.9, the heart and soul of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. WEFM is SVG.
It's time for Shakeup on WEFM 99.9.
And indeed, it's time for Shakeup right here on WEFM 99.9. It's 10:40 here on SVG, just 20 minutes before the 11 o'clock hour. Good morning to you, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and those across the Eastern Caribbean. Of course, as usual, we begin with the scripture reading. Today's scripture reading is taken from Joshua 1 and verse 9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Of course, if you'd like to make a contribution, feel free to call us at 457-9997. That's the on-air number. Our WhatsApp contact is 457-9994, and our Digicel number is 532-9997. This morning, we're joined by Mr. Augustine Ferdinand. He is the moderator for today's Shakeup program. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Narissa. Good morning to the listeners of We and Star from those who are also joining us up north at the Garifuna Radio. Greetings to those of you who are also joining us on social media via WEFM 99.9 Facebook page. Many friends, listeners, comrades abroad in the diaspora, US of A, Canada, the United Kingdom, and across the continent of Europe. Also to our many students who are more or less settling in, given the new start of the academic year, their first semester. Those of you who are journeying to and from your destination this morning or at the various shops across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As usual, it's a Shakeup radio program today, and remember the numbers to call and interact with us are 784-457-9997. That's 784-457-9997. And you can call or send us messages on the WhatsApp number 784-457-9994. That's 784-457-9994. Today being the 26th of September, and I'm already seeing the photos. Today we have the job fair by Sandals, and that's taking place currently at the Kingston Baptist Church, which is more or less what we know at the entrance of Gardens Gate. And I know that there are persons there already, many young persons. There are those who may be on their way to that destination, and remind persons that this will go up to Friday. Friday, I believe, is the 29th. This will go up to Friday this week. And persons are to walk with their resume or their CV, and the resume meaning basically tell them about yourself. So where you have worked in the past or currently working if you are employed. Yes, there are those, sometimes we only think that it's only the unemployed who are seeking job opportunities, but you have persons who are also employed who do likewise. So you, on that resume, of course, you put your experience in the job market, whatever certificates you have received in the past, professional certificates, training certificates, also a little about yourself, what you like to do. That basically tells them who you are. And if you have any references, you put that also in your resume. And it's good to have references so that, someone else can vouch for you. And of course, you may wish to carry along certificates to show them that, yes, I am indeed competent in this or that area. And also your ID card and your NIS number. So that's happening from today to Friday this week. Again, it's an opportunity for many out there. I remind persons that Sandals is looking to at least employ between 500 to 800 persons when in operation. That's a significant number. Yesterday was the Sandals media launch. And we talk about opportunities. And I believe this is why I can see why there are some persons, especially those who like to peddle this thing that there are no opportunities here for young people. That is something I noticed of late, that the NDP has ramped up, pushing this story that there are no opportunity or opportunities out there for young people. But what is happening this morning at the Kingston Baptist Church, and I think also tomorrow, I believe, Plantation House or Hotel is having their own job fair as well up to Friday also. And that is in the constituency of the opposition leader. So they also, Beckwith Plantation Hotel, they're having theirs, I think. No, not tomorrow, actually. It's today and tomorrow from 9 o'clock there. And they're looking for various persons from sous chef, pastry chef to persons in housekeeping and front desk and the like. So, and that is something I haven't seen even on the page of the MP for Northern Grenadines. But again, that's also an opportunity for many young persons within his constituency. I have no doubt that my good friend and brother, Carlos Williams, who is the Deputy Director of Grenadines Affairs, that he more or less is on top of this and is sharing the information with many young persons within Beckwith. So that's another opportunity there. So whenever you push these things, it goes against the narrative being pushed by the opposition that there are no opportunities for young people. But if you say so, what do you call this then? Just something like this that is happening this morning, where you have at Kingston Baptist Church and even at Beckwith Plantation Hotel, these job fairs that are looking for many persons to fill different vacancies. And you also have, I know later this afternoon at 3 p.m., the handing over of the 21 houses at Orange Hill. So there's a lot of things happening here in St. Vincent and Grenadines. Of course, we're talking about opportunities, and I want to start off the bat with that because it goes against the narrative being pushed by the NDP. And as I was saying yesterday, we had the media launch of Sandals. And we know that there are over 200 persons still, Vincentians, that are working and being trained abroad under Sandals. Again, I remember when this came about, there are some posts, including a particular journalist, posted an article suggesting that the Minister of Finance was telling a lie, because at the time the newly sworn in government of Virgin Islands said that they knew nothing of it. But in reality, discussions were held with the previous government, and of course you'll have this sort of situation come in place. But when you think that persons who deem themselves as independent and investigative journalists, that they would do more work, they carried a particular story and tried to make Vincentians believe that the Minister of Finance was telling a lie. Lo and behold, we have many Vincentians out there, even in Virgin Islands and elsewhere across the Caribbean region, being trained and working with Sandals International. And I was so happy yesterday that one of our very own, Miss Renelle Keto Vincentian, and I think before she had a stint at the school right across CW yesterday, American University. It's a medical school. But she's one of them who took up the opportunity and went off into 2021 with sandals under the training program. And since then, she has risen in managerial, more or less you can call it managerial position, where she is one of the persons more or less assisting in managing financing of sandals. It's really an amazing story, because again it shows that the opportunities are there despite what we hear being pushed, what we are hearing being pushed by the NDP. So she's just one person. I also had a friend who received training and stint in inventory. So she started her journey in 2021, and she's now back home to assist, of course, in the operation here, and of course with the job fair that is taking place today. She has her own story to tell, and for those who may have missed the name, her name is Renelle Keto, and she was hired in 2021, and basically she's in the accounting department of sandals. So again, the opportunities are there, but we hear the opposition wanting to suggest otherwise, that young people are not getting the opportunities to grow and the opportunities in being employed. And that is what many young people today at Kingston Baptist Church, they are seeing the opportunities, and they are trying to capitalize on the opportunities that exist as a result of the interventions made and the policies and the conditions of the economy provided by the government. Because again, you would not have these investments and opportunities taking place if the environment isn't right. And it is the government that is the one who makes sure that you have the conducive environment to ensure these opportunities take place, whether through increased investments and increased job opportunities. And speaking of opportunities again for young people, and I want to give kudos and thanks to all involved in the construction and the completion of the shops at the Prime Empowerment Zone in Glen, at what many dub as the laundry. Yesterday we had the ribbon cutting ceremony of that facility. It's about 6 shops there, and I can tell you this morning that all the shops are occupied by young people in different areas, from those who are involved in barbering, variety store, hair salon, and the like. But even more good news is that on the opposite side of where the new shops are, you will have 10 more being erected, more or less 10 shops there alongside where you normally have food, snackets, and the like, ital, etc. in that area will be erected. And it's very important, and speaking of opportunities, Again, because I said the opposition in this country want Vincentians to believe that there are no opportunities being created in the economy for young people. And the very prime program, because those shops came out of the prime initiative, And I remember speaking on this program sometime back. The young man who is now the business owner of Carmative Architectural Design, Mr. James Campbell. He's an architectural designer. First started at the technical division at St. Vincent Community College before I believe he attended Bagger School, well, what we now know as Central Youth Secondary. And he received a Taiwanese scholarship, did his degree in architecture, and he's now his own business owner with his own Carmative architectural design business. And he's one of them who basically applied for a prime grant, and he used the opportunity to expand his business. A young man, very young man, coming from the walls of the poor and working class. He served with me in the cadets for a short while and is now his own business owner. And he's one of them who received such a grant, and that has enabled him to expand his business and the services that he's offering to Vincentians. And he's looking to expand across the region as well. And that's one of the success stories. There are many, many more. Those who may have car wash business, mechanic shops, barber shops, pastry shops, and the like. There are many more success stories out there, but I use him as an example. And you have, I remember at the time, in the initial stage, you have about over 1,200 thereabout of these distributed, and then you had Prime Plus. And you have businesses in other different categories, even in entertainment, garment making, ICT, retail, grocery, and bar, different categories. And the other important part is that you may hear the NDP say, well, they're looking to offer loans. And the Minister of Finance yesterday went through the different struggles that young entrepreneurs may face, wanting to become their own employer. But the NDP is saying that instead of taking the grants being offered by the government, take the loan that they would offer. And one of the things the opposition says that when process asks, well, where are you going to get the financing from? The magic word now. Yeah, the magic word. CBI, yeah, selling passports. But we are doing it here, providing grants. And the Minister of Finance mentioned yesterday that you have certain challenges that young entrepreneurs may face. One, of course, very important part is capital. And if you apply as a young business owner for a loan, you have to make sure you have the security in most instances to be able to secure that loan. That's one. And even if, let's say, you don't necessarily need a security, but you do some follow-up and thing, but book it sure there will be some security. You still have to deal with the issue of repayment. It could be for over a period of time. You may have a grace period, but at the end of the day, you have to make repayment on that loan. And it's not every month or every quarter. You may have a good season, because in the business cycle, you may have good months, so good 3 months, and 5 bad months. That's just how it is. But at the end of the day, you can't go to the institution and say, well, I've had 5 bad months and therefore I'm not able to meet my obligations. So you have that to deal with. And then the other one that the Minister of Finance mentioned is location. So even though you have the capital, you need the location. You need an ideal place. And we all know in capital city Kingston, the price for rent Kingston is a prime real estate area. And therefore, the price for a rental space in a particular building can be quite high for a young entrepreneur. I can tell you that. If you get a spot in capital city Kingston, talking rental spot for $700 and even in some instances $800, you're very lucky. You're very, very, very lucky. And therefore, location is important. And yesterday, what we witnessed with those shops at Glen, and that's just a start. The Minister of Finance said that it's something that the government may look to do nationwide. Is that, and I know many of you may be shocked, but I want you to take a guess as to the cost for rent for those shops. I really and truly want you to take a guess per month. Really and truly want you to take a guess. And I will tell you this, that the shops, they have an open space out front and bathroom facilities too. I really want you to take a guess. I ain't going to say it now. But sit and take a guess. You can call in and maybe tell us what you think maybe the rental cost or what it should be. But I will tell you it's nowhere near a $700 or $800. I could tell you that for sure. So these are the opportunities being created by the government. And I remember the NDP, the opposition NDP, they said that the prime thing is just a gimmick. It's for elections and all these things. Well, prime is still ongoing. Huh? As a matter of fact, like I said, the launching yesterday even shows that that is the case. But let us take this call. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup.
$5 a month, Mr. Ferdinand.
$5 a month. So you've been listening, man.
Huh?
You were listening yesterday?
I listened this morning.
This morning. I see someone also on the WhatsApp mentioning Pedro, morning to you. $5 a month.
Right.
All right, thank you. $5 a month. You could imagine that. You have a nice space, bathroom facility, open space, and all you're paying is $60 a year. If you're a barber, and I will tell you, haircut these days is around, maybe for children might be $10, in some cases $15. My case as an adult, you might see it at $20 or $25, depending on who. You easily make back that money within a day or within a few hours. In terms of the rent for a whole year. But again, it's about giving young people the opportunity in realizing their own dreams, their goals, and their aspirations. That's what it's about. And that $5 is just to show that, look, at the end of the day, you give something, as part of your responsibility. Well, let us take this other call. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup.
Hello?
Yes, good morning. Turn on the radio, please.
That's where they keep doing some stupidness. Look how I try to control this radio jet. Suppose that morning, man.
Yes, man.
Yes. No, I just hear the opposition leader be talking. And I just want to know, if it's a human being talking, some alien from space, somebody who has no understanding, somebody who decide to check God, and all this kind of thing. I can't understand this man at all. I wonder, he's supposed to be old like me, or older than me. I going for 60-something. And brother, I telling you, when I hear this man talk, I just think this well boy is a fella that he has education. He just stupid. I depend some kind of high jog or some kind of thing, just speculating. Brother, when you watch Sylvan, so from Milton Keto, start that thing here, industry and all this kind of thing to help intention. When Mitchell get in office, he closed down all kind of stone mill, all kind of thing that making racket and all kind of thing. I don't know what he causing that. And he and his partner, them they buying land all about the place, so 50 cents and 10 cents a square foot, racket and confusion like so, kind of one, all this kind of thing. They having the deal to get back the share and cut and day and then living for the type of people can send the children to school in Sylvan. So when I hear a man get a little, scholarship, if some one of them big shot head, no, people getting scholarship, go low, they all over the place by thousands. And in them days, must be just 1 or 2 people used to get scholarship. And comparing to now, when I hear this opposition talking about, oh, you got to train people and you got to make people, young people, put them in work. And
he late to the party, man. He late.
I want to know.
He very late.
If somebody scared this guy, somebody give him a thing of those for you to come and talk all this stupidness to the world. And he know for sure that Sylvan is the best position Sylvan ever did since 12 months I've getting power. Nobody else put Sylvan under this kind of development. We have training, we have scholarship, we have airport bill, we have satellite dish, we have bridges bill, we have housing bill, we have reclassification with teachers and who getting higher pay from starvation pay in Mitchell at them time. We have all kind of things going on in Sylvan, so all kind of opportunity for people, and these people are studying all this blessing that God gave me. Telling it their own people that nothing happening in Sylvan. So, and that, when I say this is what we call craziness, madness over madness. If it's a opposition leader and you had nothing to say, and you seen all the development, even you and your family and your supporters and them surviving so good, and you telling me that Sylvan ain't going nowhere just because you want to get in power, and then the kind of people you have in your party. Will do people all kind of things go here parade, the people born in for the deed. People say, oh, this one take the $10,000, this one put them a quote to $10,000 and they do nothing to them. And you have all these kind of rascal people going up for election. And you telling people that you going to do good, and you use integrity, man, and use honesty, man, and you want to know how this spin and how that spin, when you yourself and your party is a crookery and a set of people and everything that God give it to the government, you're turning it wrong because you want to get in office. You put cap on this, put cap on investment, too much investment in Sylvan, so, and all this kind of thing. And you is talking now about you going and do this and you going to do that, and people nothing is happening. What you not telling you? Sick? Boy, I'm telling you, you are a sick man. Among the things Sylvan to achieve that. And right now they're looking for man to work. For ever since 2001, fellas, left all the hills and come out. Left all the hills, you get killed by the sea water, going all about to sell the weed and things, just to make a living. We see a man in the house, a car, because, well, he's doing some kind of undermine business. But now everybody have big house and big cars, and they have big what they're buying washing machine. They have no outside toilet again, and all. And you want to tell me this government takes it from where it come from so far, and going and bring back Friday and then with the nonsense and the crookedness to come and run Sylvan somebody. You think it go be? You think it go down just so? You think Vincent and to backward? But I just want to give Doc Howard must listen to me. So let me give Doc Howard one little message. Let me give Doc Howard one little thing before I go out. This is Doc Howard, let me tell you something now. Last election, we have some disaster all in Virgin Island and all these kind of places. And Mr. Soboto says you must send over 7,000 people apply to go and almost all of them come back now. Hey? I may tell you something. You and Friday, all of that study again. Which one the country they want to deploy hand in the treasury and the poor people poor again. So the people they angry. They couldn't come back because pandemic, but they couldn't come back to vote. I want to 20 people was the two. A few of them was the two, but let me tell you something. Them people who supposed to send they down the back here. They're angry to vote. They're angry to vote. That's like how happened in South Lever the other day with Brewster. With a voting day, we're going to get some of them voting in some of my constituencies. So the coward, you stand no chance with the dotishness and the stupidness. I know you're listening, but you stand no chance with the evil and the cruelty towards Vincent Chan. Okay, my brother, have a good day. Oh, let me say hello to Kissel. Kissel, well, girl, we know well, we're looking for you to take a seat. Eh? All right, man.
Okay. Yeah. My brother essentially what? And it wasn't 7,000 either, but the thing is, these opportunities are there to uplift the people of St. Vincent and Grenadines. I mean, I see Val here. Val can't believe it. It's $5. And I mentioned also you have here a salon. And you know, for many women out there who like to do their hair, whether regularly per week or every 2 weeks, and in some cases every other day, depending. Yeah, a young lady here open her eye, but yeah, them things does happen. Yeah, every other day. You know, new style, a new day, a new mood. Come on, man. But in some cases, you may have to pay $80 or $60, depending, maybe even over $100, depending on the style you put in. And you don't pay back. You don't make money to pay the $60 fee a year. You don't make that. But again, it's about helping young people to stand on their feet and realize their own goals, dreams, and aspirations. And it gets even better. I want you to listen to this recording with the Minister of Finance, because there's another component. So yes, we've distributed over 1,200 plus grants in terms of prime. And even recently this year, we had through the Women Empowerment Project in collaboration with the government and people of Taiwan, where you saw young women being empowered in, again, actualizing and realizing their own dreams and aspirations and owning their business or expanding their business. But there's another component apart from the grants and these shops. And you have those who may be interested in having their own mobile business. So I want you to listen to this. Talking about opportunities, remember, the NDP does say there are no opportunities for young people in this country. As a matter of fact, I know today they're supposed to have a live conference where they might say that same nonsense. I nearly say a word I ain't supposed to already, but would say that same nonsense. But I want you to listen to this.
Prime rides. So if you have a business that requires you to be mobile, we're going to have about 10 of these for you business people to start with, to see whether or not your business can take off and your mobile business can work using these facilities. We have 2 of them here today, 2 of the Prime Ride tuk-tuks. Some of the others are at other mechanics getting their final tune-ups. We didn't want to paint them because we don't know what color your business may want your Prime Ride to be. So what we've done, we've left them so. We've put our logo on the side. And starting October 1st, we're going to have an application window for those of you business people who want to use a Prime Ride to run your mobile business. Whether it's a delivery business, whether it's you have to move your produce from point A to point B, from where you harvest it to where you sell it, whatever the case may be. We are going to have, and pay attention, you're going to see notices in the newspaper and in the...
So yeah, Prime Rides. They call it Prime Ride tuk-tuk. You know, for those who may be familiar with Rung the Tongue taxi, that's how one of the Prime Ride vehicles look like. that size and makeup. And as you heard the Minister of Finance, that from October 1st, you're going to have application period open for persons to apply for the prime ride tuk-tuk. Again, opportunities, because we know there are persons who have various mobile businesses. Given the world we live in today, you can simply drive around, you know. I mean, it's nothing really. Like, for example, many of us know that you have fisher folk who will go around and have their cooler in the back of the vehicle and sell fish in different communities and villages. So it's, again, a similar concept. But now it's not about only fish. You can have different commodities where you have a mobile service. You even have, we know today, there are some restaurants or local business people who have their own restaurant, or they do cooking, and they have their own delivery service. So that's the age we live in. So it's not only, prime isn't just the grant and the primary empowerment zone with the shops, but there's another component with these vehicles, these prime ride tuk-tuks. But remember, the opposition will tell you that there are no opportunities being created by the government for the empowerment of young people. Just remember that. Yeah? But how can you say that when we have all these things taking place here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? As I said, at this very moment, and anyone passed by Kingston Baptist Church, that is an opportunity that is taking place for young people who want to work with sandals. And again, remember, there are different positions that are up, because, like I said, from next year, you're going to have about 500 to 800 persons that will be hired. From those in the financing area, and I mentioned the young lady, Renelle Cato. She's a cost controller, which is a managerial position, more or less, middle management position within sandals. And you'll have those who may want to apply to be an accountant, an auditor, storekeeper, accounting clerk, cashier, social media coordinator, because, you know, things like Facebook and Instagram and even TikTok now, they are monetized, where businesses can use them for marketing purposes. You have those in HR department, those in sales. You have wedding, of course, in Vincent and Grenadines is a very good destination where persons go, where persons come and have their weddings, whether on the beach and the like. And so for weddings, you would have a supervisor, a banquet supervisor, wedding captains, planners, wedding event coordinators. In terms of even spa, you have those who would want to be spa therapists and attendants and beautician and receptionists. Those who may be very good with tennis, gym instructor. You have those involved in landscaping. We have a good bit in this country, very good landscapers. Those who may also know how to basically prune certain plants, etc., trees. Those who are also good with nursery, irrigation. So different fields, very broad and wide. And again, these are opportunities. And let us not forget that it is the very opposition in this country. You know, Jomoa is saying, remember not to forget. So I'm telling you, remember not to forget that it is the very same opposition in this country who first of all, just of recent, wanted you to believe that Sanders is going to block access to the beach for locals. Just remember that. In the hope that those of you living in and surrounding Bokoment area will go out there and protest against the development taking place. But that's just one example. They don't want to come out and say outrightly that they criticize the project. They don't want to do that. But there are different ways you can say it. So that is just one. Then let us not forget that you have a particular lawyer and was former senator within the NDP. When the developers looking to purchase more lands, urge locals not to sell. Like I say, they don't want to say outrightly they oppose it, because they may have learned a bit from the airport. So they don't want to say it outrightly. But there are different ways you can say it. So that is another way. But the development is taking place rapidly. As Sanders said, they're looking to hire about 200 more people. They already have 600 there in terms of construction, and they want 200 more because they have a deadline, a target to meet for next year, the first quarter of next year, around February, March. And I'm quite sure that many persons who surf the social media space can see the different drone shots. And I want to say good morning to Mark Lawley and his family. I understand that it is his son who took those drone footage. And I'm quite sure many persons who see those photos can see that it's a beautiful beaches resort that is taking place there. And we all supposed to wish the investors very well. But there are some out of bad mind, jealousy, hatred, all because, they don't like the government. They will oppose progressive developments like this. But there's even more. And I want to say good morning to my former classmate, Zeno Days. I saw he posted some photos there, and to those in his family. But there are local business people too, who also engage in development on that very Bokoment Bay area. And I urge persons to go and visit there. Trust me, it's remarkable what is there. When this government said that it is transforming the entire social and physical space of this country, better believe it. When I was having a conversation yesterday at the very same ribbon cutting ceremony in Glen, and that vicinity alone is transformed already. And Bukit Show, when the 10 additional shops are erected, it will be even further transformed. Further transformed. What is taking place in Bokoment? Bukit Show within a year and a half. Bokoment will be a totally different area altogether. Similarly to with Diamond. As much as you hear the NDP bandy about and say that there's nothing taking place in this country, well, I'm going to be very serious here. I mean, I normally don't like to use this sort of language. Only a fool would believe that. If the NDP convince you that there's nothing happening in the country, you have to be a fool. I mean, to the extent to where the opposition leader on the Voices program recently with Jomo Thomas and say that there's nothing happening in construction, there's nothing happening in tourism, there's no progress. You have to be a fool to believe that. There are many of us, we traverse the country and we see all these big trucks that we never thought we would have seen for a while in this country. Big trucks, Normally overseas, you see them in the UK, you see them in the USA. Big construction trucks. Why is that? Because the demand is even greater now in construction. But yet you have the opposition talking hogwash on radio platforms. Total hogwash. But I'm quite sure at the conference, you'll hear more hogwash. And as a matter of fact, I maybe can even tell you here what would be said on the conference. One for sure, they will continue to try and make you believe that the NIS is in crisis. And even thinking about that while I was on my way to the station, I'm like, how can you try to convince people or pensioners in this country, especially those who are already collecting the pension, that there's a crisis within the NS when they're collecting the money every fortnight? That makes sense? No, seriously, does that make sense? People collecting their pension money. And you want those folks and others to believe that the NS is in crisis? And the strange thing about it is that you have those who push the thing that CBI will be everything. But even in Antigua, they had difficulty paying pensions, where pensioners even had to protest to get the money. We don't have that here in St. Vincent and Grenadines. Pensioners receive the money. What the government is doing is making sure that within 10 to 12 years, that the NIS would remain sustainable. And any prudent government would do likewise. The government can say, the current government can say, well, you're not sure who will be in government then, so just leave that to the next government. But a responsible, prudent government doesn't operate like that. And we've heard the actuaries said that the NIS is in a sound position. But if you don't do reforms now, when the 12 years come, when reforms have to be done, it will be so severe that we would bawl. So it is better to do it now. But I'm quite sure that at the NDP's conference, you'll hear them try to convince people who collecting their money every fortnight, and others, that the NIS is in a crisis. I'm also sure that at the conference, they're going to sell the same nonsense that there aren't opportunities for young people. Well, hello, at Kingston Baptist Church, you have a lot of young people trying to capitalize on the opportunities. Even in Northern Grenadines at with Plantation Hotel, there are a lot of young people who are also capitalizing on the opportunities being created. But I'm quite sure at the conference, bosses would hear that as well. And also at the conference, you'll hear them talk about education. Well, one of the strangest things, as the opposition, and I'm quite sure many persons would agree with me on this, as the opposition, if it's one thing, you can be brazen and boldface all you like, but I think this is going too far. If it's one thing, you should not have the authority as the opposition to speak on is education. I'm very frank and blunt, and I'm quite sure you can agree with me on this. If it's the one thing, because it is the very opposition, and it's in NDP's manifesto too, that said that they may consider, operationalize the word may, underline it, that they may consider universal access to secondary education in 2030. That would be 7 years from now. Again, if you don't believe me, you can check the 2000 manifesto with the NDP. You can check different excerpts from the former leader of the opposition, Honorable Andy Eustace. May consider, it's not will consider, may consider, meaning that it can or cannot happen. May not be a priority for them. Universal access to secondary education 7 years from now. What does that mean? It means all now for the NDP. You don't have to have all children from primary school going into secondary school. Simple as that. But the leader of the opposition today is trying to school the government on education. Like, seriously? You know, they say that sometimes you have to look yourself in the mirror before you open your mouth. It is the same opposition. I ain't talking no lies here. The record is there. That also said and discouraged young people from enrolling and pursuing associate degree programs at the St. Vincent and Grenadines Community College. You know, I tell you, man, the opposition leader is so brazen and bold-faced. The same man who said that the education revolution is a myth, that he sees no relevance in the education revolution or the education policies of the government. But yet, he took the opportunity to go out at the St. Vincent and Grenadines Community College for photo ops with the young students at the college. What a man, eh? What a man. I'm wondering, I have to double check the dictionary and look at the word shame and see if the leader of the opposition will be also in the pronoun there. Or synonymous with shame. Or he has none. You openly discouraged young people from pursuing associate degree programs at the college, whether in marketing, hospitality, culinary arts, tourism, different associate degree programs offered. You discouraged them. You and your party said that the associate degree programs, they don't worth nothing. And yet you have the gall, or as some would say, the audacity, to not only try to school the government on education, but the audacity to go out at the college and take photos with the very students who are pursuing these programs to empower themselves. You got to be real bold-faced and brazen in truth. Not so? Real brazen and bold-faced in truth. But that's the opposition. And we have seen over the years thousands of college students in these different programs pursue them and be enrolled at different tertiary, advanced tertiary institutions across the region, and even apply the credits, transfer them. Because while they were bandying about with this thing about accreditation, the college is also record. That is why just a few years back, the community college had an agreement with UWI, Jamaica, UWI Mona. And you now have even bachelor degree program in nursing being offered at the college. The college is accredited, but it's recognized. And I see my good friend send me here the different adjectives. Barefaced, shameless. Word bale-faced liar. Well, oh yeah, man, he take the whole cake for that. Without shame. Insolent. Well, let us take this call. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup.
Hi, Sir Ferdinand.
Yes, good morning. This is
Morning,
former PS Weeks.
Yeah, that's
Greetings. Haven't told you in a while. Greetings.
Yeah, I listen, but sometimes it's good to listen. That's one of my favorite pastimes, to listen and learn. Well, what I want to do, Sir Ferdinand, I noticed for the past week or two, every time you're on, you made an extra effort to publicize and to promote the job fair that is taking place at
Yes.
the KBC today until Thursday, I think.
It's very important. The opportunity there, tremendous.
Yes, I want to join with you to encourage our fellow Vincentians. Once you have an interest in working in the industry, or sometimes if you're just looking for work, once you're serious about working,
Correct.
you go out and make an application. You know, sometimes we sit down and we say, them things we have the owner already, so we don't take action. But here, Ferdinand, we live in a, we have to understand that where we live, every job in St. Vincent, in Grenada, Dominica, St. Lucia, Antigua, St. Kitts, is available to residents, citizens of those islands. The point is, these jobs from Sandals are not just for Vincentians. And what I mean by this, if Sandals go through all of this to advertise and to promote their job fair, they spend a lot of money promoting the job fair, and persons do not apply for the jobs, do not show interest in the jobs. St. Lucians, Grenadians, Dominicans, all OECS citizens, they don't need a work permit. They don't need any permission to work in St. Vincent. They can walk in and they can take up these jobs.
And we can't wrong them
and
for
then
that.
We can hear the cry, foreigners coming here to take the jobs. So I'm joining with you and asking our people to go out and look, make an effort to make an application and express your interest. You can't blame anybody other than yourself if you didn't make an application, you didn't show interest. The other thing quickly, Mr. Ferdinand, I heard you use a term, was it last week or the week before, about the envelope. And that, the brown envelope, you said the brown envelope.
Yes.
In legal terms, it is sometimes referred to as the Manila envelope. And we hear Prime Minister Dunsas talk about that all the time. Maybe what we have not realized currently is the Manila envelope is going around currently. Rather than it being handed to the president of the party, it is now going around, it is now being circulated with specific items in it. And you hear persons repeating these items. First of all, you hear about autopilot. The country is on autopilot. So it is to show that there's nobody who's in charge of St. Vincent. And therefore, we must take a Ralph Gonzalez wannabe and put him in charge of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So Ferdinand, you follow the media and you must have heard some time ago that an extensive political study was being conducted in St. Vincent. First of all, they started with a general survey.
Correct.
You fill out a broad questionnaire. And then they select some encourage persons to apply to participate, selected a group, and they did a focus group discussion.
Yes.
And based on my experience and my training, Ferdinand, that study was designed to do one thing, to get, well, two things. One, get an understanding of where whoever was behind that study, where that entity stands in the general scheme of things in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In other words, I'm saying this political organization, if it is that is a political organization that was behind the study, first of all, they use the study to decide where they are in terms of support in the general population. Secondly, and very importantly, they use it to get messaging.
Correct. Branding.
That's what the focus group is about, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Is to find out what is in these persons' head so that these professionals, these marketing persons, these, as some people call it, mind benders, can get their message as to what to talk about. And I believe a lot of the conversation that you're getting now, the issue of national security, and that they tied it within the team that the country is in autopilot, is being run on autopilot. Nobody's in control. So we have a national security concern. The issue of jobs, and nothing is happening in St. Vincent. Again, it ties back into nobody's in control, nobody's doing anything. And as a people, we must understand where this messaging is coming from and what is its intention.
Yep.
I must believe, and I say to a person who I speak with privately, that 2024 is an important year in the history of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I hear Marlon Butte on Sunday making the claim that St. Vincent is on a cusp of an economic takeoff. And I wholeheartedly support that view. Because if you look at the activities that are coming to St. Vincent in 2024, while we are doing a lot of work on our infrastructure, repairing our roads, building another hospital, building a new port, building hotels, while all of that is happening, in 2024, we have maybe 30 or 34 heads of government with their delegations coming to St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yep.
In addition to those heads of government who are members of CELAC, that's what I'm talking about, you have other important countries and entities that I am sure will be invited and will be participating in that exercise. The American government surely will send representatives, high-level representatives, because they don't want to left behind. They know what Prime Minister Gonzalez stands for,
And
they
capable
want to
of.
be here
Yes.
to be part of it. The Canadian government will send their people, the European Union, and certainly you may have one or two heads of government and their delegations from Africa. That is going to be a huge event. It is going to put our country in the headlines around the world. And in between that, you have the full operationalization of Sandals. And I heard those who are arguing why Sandals is engaging with the airlines to negotiate with the airlines. And I wonder where these people come from, where they live.
Oh, Lord.
Where they live, where they come from. Sandals has been in this business for many years. As a matter of fact, there was one time when Sandals didn't just engage in negotiating with the airlines. They own an airline substantially. And then later on, we have World Cup cricket and Carnival mixed up in one.
Yep. From June into July.
It's going to be a big year for St. Vincent, the Ferdinand. So those who are looking for opportunities some opportunities are coming our way.
And some already here.
Well, they're here.
Yes.
They're here. I mean, we already have a shortage of construction workers in the country. I've been saying that for some time now. I've been urging young persons to go out who are interested and get a course. The technical institutes, they offer these programs.
Yes, general construction.
Get with it. There's a shortage of construction workers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines now. I mean, if you want to put up 2 blocks around your house, sometimes you have to put yourself in a queue. Line up and wait on the construction worker when they get a chance to come and do it for you. Ferdinand, continue to encourage the intention. And very importantly, we must point out to our people where this messaging, this targeted messaging, where it is coming from and what it is intended to do. Thank you, there.
Thank you very much for your contribution, Mr. Weeks. It's so wonderful to hear you, and the contribution you made, of course, as always, is a valuable one. So it's now 20 minutes to the hour of 12 o'clock here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We'll take a short break, pay some bills, and resume with the program.
The flavor nice, it's locally made. Affordable price, Lord, up to $3 retail. When you see me lining with the red and white case, show me what you like. It's cigarette from Empire, Holdings Limited. It's cigarette from Empire, Holdings Limited. With over 60 years experience, hold the best tobacco, best ingredients. Yeah. This is your boy Lou to say, support local, buy your cigarettes from Empire Holdings Limited. 10 cigarettes in a pack for up to $3 retail. Remember, smoking is not for minors.
Did you know? Have you used them? Virtus, Medushi, Lilies. These are among the best bathroom tissue products available any place. Excellent quality, larger sheet sizes, and more sheets per roll. Check them out and compare with others. And guess what? Guess what? These are produced right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I tell you, Vinci's have class. Yes, real class as always. Let's keep our standards high. Buy Virtus, Medushi, and Lilies. Made by St. Vincent Containers. WEFM 99.9, home of quality programming. A source of reliable news and information. Home of legendary voices and music. WEFM 99.9, the clean fresh sound. Visit us online at www.999wefm.com or call 457-9994. WEFM 99.9, the clean fresh sound.
Out with the old, in with the new. In the past, you complained when we failed. We listened and went back to the drawing board. At last, a new, fresh beginning. A fresh face, a new product. International Standard Metals A792 presents Galvalume, an aluminum roofing metal, branded best used for roofing material, tested and proven to be of superior quality. Get wider coverage for the best prices on the island. We offer a variety of colors, including zinc sheets. Also, take advantage of our unique roofing patterns, U-panel, industrial, and crimp Spanish style. Visit us at the Diamond Industrial Estate. Call us at 784-456-9900 or email bmlsvg@gmail.com. Galvalume, a product of International Standard Metals.
99.9, the heart and soul of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. WEFM is SVG.
So yes, we are back here in studio of WEFM. I am your host, Augustine Ferdinand. Remember the numbers to call and interact with us are 784-457-9997. That's 784-457-9997. And you can call or send us messages on the WhatsApp number 784-457-9994. That's 784-457-9994. And again, before we took the break, we heard from former PS, Mr. Weeks, and he also was a co-host on Issues at Hand program. Shed some light on what I deem to be very valuable and important issues. Of course, he spoke on the opportunities that we are already seeing here in St. Vincent and Grenadines. Spoke of the scarcity of many domestic persons being able to get a hold of construction workers. We all know of that. And even agricultural workers too. Well, agricultural, the farmers, those who own farms and the like, they also having difficulty in getting agricultural workers to work with them in the farms. That's because many persons are working on various projects. You have port, you have Holiday Inn, you have Sandals, and other significant projects across the country. But he also shed light on a matter what I call of grave concern. And he spoke of the messaging from some quarters in this country. And I know of what he speak of in terms of what we are hearing lately of certain words being bandied about. One, of course, as I always mention, the word crisis that is often bandied about here and there. Spoke of the other word autopilot. And these are messages for a particular effect. And those who expert in communication would know what I call subliminal messaging the effect that it can have on general populace. And you mentioned that there was a particular survey, but if I even want to go nearer, I like I mentioned, I know during an NDP rally that they had out at Seaview, and I'll cut out the recording. I saved the entire recording, but I cut it out specifically. One of these is when I'm touching on the subject matter to show you, and you can connect the dots, where it was mentioned that you can fill out your information. Someone was going through the crowd and they told them to fill out the information and they'll be eligible to win a phone. Yeah. Just again, during that same period, they had something going online where they said that you fill out the information and you'll be eligible to win $150. Now, could be pure coincidence that there's something online, a research survey being done online, while at the same time you have at an NDP rally somebody going around with survey too, telling you that you could win a phone. But like I say, it might be coincidental or not, Again, sometimes you just have to put two and two together, right? But the opportunities, they're already here, and we are on the cusp of an economic takeoff. I was in a discussion also before it was an online discussion. And I think the leader of the opposition also, when he was on Voices, he was trying to compare St. Vincent and Grenadines with established tourism destinations such as Barbados and Bahamas. And, I could imagine, like I said, how Jomo felt. Jomo, to his mind, may have said that, boy, let me try and give the leader of the opposition some exposure, and bring his whatever plans he may have and answer some real hard questions to try and make him look prime ministerial and leadership. Like, well, that program really had the opposite effect. And I can imagine how Jomo himself felt as the host of the program, thinking, boy, let me help the leader of the opposition. Well, the man couldn't even help himself. But Jomo couldn't help it. He had to stop the leader of the opposition in his tracks when he was trying to compare St. Vincent and the Grenadines and establish tourism destinations such as Bahamas and Barbados and even St. Lucia. Because the reality is, like I was explaining to some folks this morning, it's just other day. Tourism really and truly was pushed here in St. Vincent and Grenadines. That is a fact. And those of you, the ardent listeners of Shakeup, would know I often refer to it as using a toddler, the stages of a baby, a toddler. By 2001, St. Vincent and Grenadines was a toddler. in tourism, wearing diapers, and can't even walk but creeping, more or less, crawling on the floor. Because, again, to jog your memory, it's just around 1998, 1999. We got cruise ship board facility. That is a fact. Well, elsewhere in the region, including Bahamas and Barbados, even before we had our own cruise ship board, they've been docking two mass large cruise ships and more in the capital, whether in Nassau or Bridgetown, Barbados. Both countries already had international airports way before St. Vincent, and we just had it, 2017? So when the opposition leader come here and trying to compare, and there are those who do it too, compare St. Vincent and Grenadines tourism product to Bahamas and Barbados. St. Vincent is a toddler. It is this government that is basically helping to really and truly make St. Vincent and Grenadines turn it into a mass tourism destination. We don't know. I'm going to say we really don't know what is mass tourism. We've never experienced it. Because as you know, and this is where I get very passionate. When it comes to development and policy, I get very passionate. As you know, before 2000 and even 1998, what has been pushed in this country is what? Is what? Selling bananas. Selling bananas while Barbados, Bahamas, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua, they've been moving away. Barbados, of course, they didn't have bananas, but what they had? Sugarcane. And what they did? Move away from that. Same thing with St. Kitts. Move away. Diversify away from sugarcane. While they had the NDP here, still trying to push bananas. And we even know, and that is why I say some people are so disingenuous, you know. We even know that after we go into the 21st century, the year 2000, and this government took office, that is the same opposition trying to, for how many years, tell you that we need to do what? Go back to what? Come on, you know it, man, go back to what? Where does they say? The heydays of bananas. Again, this is why I have to get passionate, because you now have the bare-faced people who are telling you now that, oh, we ain't know like we Barbados they in tourism, we ain't know like we Bahamas they in tourism, we ain't know like we St. Lucia they in tourism. But hello, you were in government and you weren't even pushing tourism. It's only coming to the end of their term what the former Prime Minister said, that boy, when they realize that really and truly bananas is more or less to its end, and you know there's the hypocrisy about it. Their own founder of the party and former Prime Minister recognized that bananas was dying, but they go hear the opposition say that is this government kill bananas. Hello, the thing been already died. And even though you knew that, even though your former leader knew that, you are trying to sell intentions that we can go back to some heydays of bananas. Nonsense. And even that, you try to make people think that we must be compared with established tourism destinations. When this government came to office, we were in a toddler stage, ain't even walking, but creeping. And it is this government now, starting from the ground, helping to build tourism. Now, what's very important in terms of tourism, I say we have about 7 minutes. People come into a country, of course, you need attractive sites for them to visit. And tourism today is not only about sun, sun, and sea, there are more than that. Experiences. Infrastructure, important, roads, etc., utilities. But talking about mass tourism, from an infrastructure side, one, you're going to have to talk about access. If it's very expensive to get to your destination, you're not going to get much people. Meaning that if somebody from the UK or the US or Canada have to whether stop off in this country, then go over to that country to then come to your country, book it through. You think it makes sense to that person? Because already most of their spending money will be taken up in what? Ticket costs. So what they had to do, you got to make sure now, try to make it easier for persons to access your destination. But guess what? While this very same government is trying to make it easier for persons to get access to St. Vincent and Grenadines, where the opposition been saying, the same people now who telling you about we're not looking to build tourism and this and that, they what? Criticize the very thing that the government is trying to make it easier for us to really and truly engage in mass tourism. We built an international airport, Barbados, Antigua, St. Kitts. You have VC Bird, Bradshaw International, Grantley Adams, all of them had an international airport before us. So it made it easier. And that is why in those countries you have more established international hotels. Because what? It's easier for persons from the different destinations, niche market areas, to get access to those countries and fill the rooms in the various hotels. Very important. But the opposition here criticize, and even up to today, they criticize it now differently by telling you, oh, how much money the airport making and this and that. You don't hear them. Because even up to today, they didn't want St. Vincent and Grenadines to have an international airport. But I remind you, down to Dominica now, building one. So if for the NDP alone, St. Vincent and Grenadines would be the last to have an international airport. You could imagine that? Tell you about backwardness, eh? Backwardness, boy. Backwardness. Just share backwardness. And then now, once you make sure you have the infrastructure, you got to now not only spruce up the various tourism sites as we have done, where now you can go enjoy at different sites and have toilet facilities, changing rooms, and the like. You have to have the hotel room, the room stock, because you're going to have influx of visitors, and those visitors will want to stay somewhere. But guess what? Now we having them coming. Where are the opposition doing? Oh, those sell no more lands to Sandals. Oh, don't let Sandals invest one more red cent in this country. Oh, they're going to block beach access to you. So basically, you all go and protest against Sandals development. Oh, government should not borrow $50 million to build Marriott Hotel. Oh, is a brothel building out Diamond in terms of holidaying. That is what you hear. They don't care nothing about development. They don't care nothing about jobs. They don't care nothing about mass tourism. All they want us to remain backward and for you to remain ignorant. And no, like I say, very passionate when it comes to discussing development. And when it comes to hypocrisy, no, you can't let that slide. But this is what your government is doing. Building our tourism product. One which was virtually almost non-existent. Or one may say in toddler stage, simply creeping. Now, we ain't creeping no more. We walking. But we still wearing diaper because like I tell you, we ain't experienced mass tourism yet, you know. But I can tell you this, given the trajectory and the direction we are going, I can tell you that within the next 3-4 years, 5 years, you will start to experience what mass tourism is like. The Minister of Tourism mentioned that we look to have international sailing, and some already talking about festivals. Mass tourism. When you're seeing more tour operators, when you're seeing little festival here and there, mass tourism. And then you'll have what some have been calling for now, nightlife. And that is why the government, the Prime Minister mentioned and entered the discussion of having concessions for those operators who may want to operate at certain what I would call non-busy hours in morning, wee hours of the morning or night into the morning, because now more people will be out. And then the discussion of reliable transportation becomes a thing. So, again, I'm quite sure the NDP will say a lot of things in the live conference. It's just lies, deception, trying to piggyback on ignorance of some in this country. But we're moving ahead. We are on the cusp of an economic takeoff. Yes, 2017, we opened the international airport. By 3 years after we had the pandemic, 2020, 2021, we more or less reopened, saw the world reopening and more flights 2022. Given that Sanders is looking to operate Bucket Show, we'll have more flights to come. And already, I can tell you now before I leave, when talking about airport, that even for the winter schedule, Air Canada has added more flights. Yeah? Things are happening. The opportunities are here and more are coming. Position yourselves, capitalize on them. You know, Wakes mentioned something very important, and it isn't just about the jobs. Because remember, Sandals is a Caribbean company, and therefore they will be able, if locals do not come and take up the jobs, we can't wrong them for hiring people elsewhere. And I also make this point again to the farmers and the fisher folk. You also have to take advantage of this opportunity and get yourself ready now. You can't wait till they open, because guess what? When they open, they already, before that, forming contracts for suppliers. You have to get ready now, and you can't blame them also as a business that if you ain't supplying them, forget that supply from elsewhere. That is why I keep harping. Position yourself and take advantage of the opportunities now. With that, like I said, we are going to the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and, of course, Mustic Charitable Trust. They're going to hand over 21 houses out at Orange Hill today at 2 o'clock. Boy, I wish I was one of the homeowners, but you know, I can't be. But I tell you, man, I am very happy for those 21 families who will be benefiting from this joint venture. With that, take care, be blessed, be safe, and have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
The flavor nice, it's locally made. Affordable price, Lord, up to $3 retail. When you see we line with the red and white case, show me what you like. It's cigarette from Empire. Holdings Limited, it's cigarette from Empire. Holdings Limited, with over 60 years